what I'm hearing in the from to is that we're taking people from thinking that AI is a magic bullet that will solve all their problems to understanding that AI is going to show you all the cracks in your policies and processes systematically and make it super easy to improve them one by one until you have a rock solid business. And the moment that you're there, AI is going to be able to make your business fly because you're now at this 85 to 95% club.
That's an expert from a call between myself, our chief property manager, David Normand, and our executive director, Nick Jacobson, where we got together to figure out what winning looks like with AI. And I'll tell you, we are really starting to understand what it is. And it's undeniable, but it's not what we originally thought. So I'm going to take you behind the scenes of this call that we had. So a couple of clips from it, but really our findings so that you can understand in a pragmatic, tangible way how to measure winning with AI and how to get there. You're going to love this one. Welcome to the Property Management Frame Breakers podcast. I'm your host, Pablo Gonzalez, and I am here to introduce you to the folks in the property management space that have broken the frame of what you may believe was possible. This podcast is presented by Vendoroo. It is your all-in-one AI solution for resolving your maintenance needs. Let's go. Okay, so here's some insider baseball. When it comes to technology companies, particularly innovative, disruptive technology companies, there's a concept called crossing the chasm. And what that means is that when you bring out something brand new, the first people that buy it are these early tech adopter, disruptor type people. The next people that buy it are visionaries. Both of these groups are really, really motivated by wholesale change, leading the industry, doing something different, changing the game, right? And because of that, they know that they need to jump in with both feet and figure some things out before everybody else because they're motivated by being first. But that is a very small piece of the market. The biggest part of the first half of the market is called the early majority. And those folks are pragmatists. These folks, you might be one, are motivated by safety, by incremental change, by measurable results, and these types of things. So our job at Vendoroo is to make it very, very clear what this idea of adopting an AI-first mentality looks like. So we took a couple of the smartest guys in our company, plus me, and we hopped on a call, and we really are trying to figure out how we define winning with AI. And it's very, very clear when we look across our portfolio of clients what the statistic is. The statistic is 85% total maintenance automation, meaning 85% of all activities in maintenance are completely handled by the AI. But not everybody's there, right? Not everybody's there. So we got together and understood how they got there. And the beauty of it is this. The beauty of it is that while not everybody's there, 85% is this line of demarcation, right? 85% of all maintenance activities automated, but the elite, we call the 5% club because the elite are at 95%. And this is how we figured out what got them there. But first, let's start with the problem. I think we got it wrong to start, right? I think a lot of folks, us included, thought that AI could be this magic bullet. We could flip the switch and it would solve all my problems and run stuff for me the way that I wish I could have been running it myself all along. Unfortunately, that's just not the case. But the good news is this. We had the solution in sight, right? We've been talking about this idea of AI as your last maintenance hire. We've talked about this idea as AI as a superstar teammate, and that's really what it is. Now think about it this way. If you hire a great employee with a bunch of experience that came from an awesome company that was trained up by a world-class team, and you brought them in to run your maintenance, what do you think the first couple of weeks would look like for that employee? Do you think that they would hit the ground running and start just implementing everything that you said and doing it way better? Or, be truthful now, do you think this employee would spend a bunch of time saying, well, why don't we do it this way? What? Do we have a process for this? No, I thought we would always have a process for this. Right? How am I supposed to make this decision when we haven't implemented all these systems that I think are super crucial, right? And asking a bunch of really tough questions. And that really is what AI is. right? If that employee got there and there was procedures that were even better and all these different things, they would hit the ground running, right? But the reality of the matter is that when we bring a superstar teammate on, generally, they're going to look at things with a different lens. They're not going to just assume it's always been done this way, and they're going to ask a bunch of really, really tough questions. Just like that, when AI hits your company, it's going to become a giant mirror of, hey, how systemized are we? How logical are we making these decisions? How are we doing all this type of stuff? And that's going to rapidly make you understand what's missing. Now, the good news is that if it's AI asking the questions, the moment that you answer it, then it immediately gets implemented, right? Like you can answer to the AI if it's asking you something that's like, oh, actually, the way that we want to do things, it's like this. And then from there on out, it can build that process, it can do it and go, right? Now, unfortunately, when it comes to agentic AI, what's really happening is that the AI is reaching, like in maintenance, right? Like just specifically in Vendoroo, right? The AI will reach a decision-making crossroads. It'll take all its training and everything that it's known, and it'll make the decision just based on what it already knows. If it doesn't have your specific procedure, or it doesn't have like your ranked list of vendors for this thing, and it makes the wrong decision, it's just making a call, right? Just like any employee would. That's not often that, it might happen that like the first time it does that, it's not going to be 100% correct, right? So the key to this is understanding that AI is going to go through this stuff really, really, really fast. And the first couple of weeks that you are onboarding an AI agent, your job is not to just like onboard the AI agent, give it the job and let it run. Your job is to onboard the AI agent like you would a brand new employee, meaning everything it does for the first 2 weeks, look at it, right? In Vendoroo, for example, you're able to just kind of like see its triaging decision-making process, what the messages it sends, right? Like the decisions it makes. And you can go straight into it and say, if it makes a decision that you don't really understand, be like, hey, why did you make that decision? Show me the logic. Sometimes, like our friend Bill Davey has taught us, he's actually going to learn something, right? Like one time it made this decision of sending an HVAC out, an HVAC repairman for a roof leak. And when Bill checked in on it, he's like, whoa, why'd you do this? You should have sent the roofer in. And said, no, actually, look at my troubleshooting and triage with the resident. The resident indicated to me that there was a leaky duct in the attic and not that this was a roof leak. So we sent the HVAC guy and it was right? But other times it's going to say, well, I did it this way. And you're going to be like, oh, no. Next time you do it, from here on out, do it this other way. This is what I want you to do. And at that point, the AI learns it. Every time from there on out, it's going to make that same judgment call. And sometimes it's just going to say, well, like I don't have a ranking of XYZ vendors, so I just picked a vendor randomly. Like, oh, okay. That means I need to go into my vendor, like my maintenance book and clearly rank the vendors, right? Or I chose this vendor because it was the number one ranked, but you realize that, oh, actually that vendor is the number one ranked, but I don't like them going to this house because they said something rude to someone that lives there. So for this house, we send this person, right? So like your ability to add notes as you see this into the AI immediately gives it the knowledge it needs. So what we're seeing, this idea of how to win with AI, our best clients, the ones that have gotten to this status that we call the 5% club, are the ones that spend the first 2 weeks reviewing everything, right? Like every decision it makes, you look at it, you ask it why it did it, and then you think, do I want to change it? Do I not want to change it? Does this mean that I have another gap? Go update it, right? And that is the big difference, right? So in the past, we used to just kind of like set people up and let them go. Now what we're doing is we're spending these 2 weeks onboarding and talking them through this stuff. And then this is what they need to do. Teach you how to run this thing, because that's what's going to lead to winning. As it continues, it's like a superstar student on crack, right? Like if a professor is out there giving a lesson and the student's like, whoa, what about this? And the professor doesn't have an answer. He's got to get the answer and answer it then. And then it's going to continue the lesson. Whoa, what about that? Right? And the professor's going to have an answer. Listen, the professor might get pissed for a second, but really it's just showcasing a gap in the professor's knowledge. And ultimately this superstar student is going to make the professor better. David explains how that feels, and using, the famous Bill Davey that we've been talking about a lot in Happy Homes as an example. Hear how he explains it.
Everybody wants to know is what AI is going to do for my business. It's actually going to show you what winning looks like. And now we know what winning looks like, not as a result of us as people, but as the AI system pulling out stuff and saying, this doesn't what winning looks like. What winning looks like, Happy Homes has 66 open work orders. Okay. They have 2 tasks that have to do today. That's what winning looks like because of their maintenance in the policies, right? What winning looks like is the insights report that we're putting to you about your achievement of level of automation, right? It's very specific about the outcome of AIs, like everybody's more efficient and more better. But you have to understand the mindset, back to the property manager, is that when everyone sees a failure as you're a bad third-party maintenance company. Like that's how everyone views it. I see it, right? Oh my gosh, your services are terrible. Well, no, AI is saying there was a mistake that happened here. Why? The question should be why, not that there's an issue.
So as you can imagine, just like that professor that we talked about, right? A property manager that interacts with AI for the first time and the AI doesn't give them the perfect result tends to take it as, oh, this doesn't work, when really what they should take it as, the AI, the superstar employee, the superstar student asking, why is this? Like, what happened here? That should be the question. And that's the opportunity to improve. And that path to improvement is the path to winning. We see winning with AI as once you pass that period of feedback, which can be up to a 90-day period. It normally looks like a 2-week period of looking at everything. After that, you spend another 30 days or so quality controlling some things, but also working with the Vendoroo team to improve the processes around it, right? Like whenever there isn't an answer, you go to your AI coach and improve that, or whatever coach that you're going to have in the industry to like figure out how to like better improve that gap to make it obvious for the decision it's going to make, with the AI helping you how to do it. And then the last 30 days is essentially learning from other people that are using the system, what are best practices, and implementing that. At that point, 90 days in, clients that do this, people that adopt this winning mentality with AI, reach a level of 85% automation. That's the line, right? Like 85% of all your maintenance stuff is taken care of so that you can really focus on that special 15%, looking up invoices that were expensive and understanding why, why that was, so you can explain it to the owner. Looking inside your dashboard, the dashboard that we create that tells you who's getting the most work, like what their average day of completions, work order completion number of days is, how many messages they generally take to like complete it, right? So like if you look at a dashboard like that and you see that your best vendor is right now at like a 12 average day work order completion, and they're taking more than 10 messages per work order to get it done, then that move is like make a call, right? Like, hey, what's going on with you guys? You guys are usually really, really good. You usually finish stuff in like 4 days. It's usually really easy to communicate. What's going on, right? Like, do I need to find another vendor because you guys are overloaded? Is there a problem with the system communicating, right? Like doing those kinds of strategic things will then get you to what we call the 5% club. That is the level of 95% automation. One of our 5% clubbers is a property management company called Safe House. And Nick here tells the story on our call of how they went from 40% automation to 95% automation. Check it out.
So Safe House, they had a lot of problems as we were ramping up the AI. So they started out in December, they were at probably 40%. They had a lot of problems with vendor assignment. They had a lot of problems with how that was the early days of the Vendoroo automations. So they had some issues there that we identified in April. A lot of this had to do, their policies were bad. It just said standard in their policies. There was no information. There was nothing there. They didn't have vendor notes there. They only had one vendor who was assigned to everything, even though they had a full vendor complement in their Buildium instance. I went through and I just re-onboarded them and got them to adopt our recommended SFR policies to start, and got them to go through their vendors and revamp their whole vendor list, put the notes in, get everything organized, and then start customizing those policies. And then we launched the workflow customization, and I was able to start getting their feedback and turning those into customizations, and then show them like, this is what I'm seeing from this, based on all of this, based on everything you're sending. These are what my recommendations are. And I started putting those in every single conversation we had. The pressure was less and less, and the automations were clearly going up, even though we didn't have a good way to track it at the time. We could see the progress. We implemented the receptionist. The routing was all sorts of wrong. And then we were able to start fine-tuning that and correcting it and getting that in place. That took the pressure off and allowed us to really start focusing on the rest of the automation and the rest of those custom workflows. And then we started doing clever things, because they didn't want us to use the sentiment analysis for the AI to just solicit the reviews. They want the AI to just solicit the reviews using their Endorsio link, because they want the bad information. Endorsio is smart, and it'll take the good reviews and direct them to the public domain, and it'll take the bad reviews and it'll just save those and send them to the property management team, so it's not posting it. So clever. So we worked that into a specific workflow for them, so that they're now getting that, so they're able to get the feedback from their vendors, and they're able to get that feedback from their residents. And so they've got a lot of customizations in there, so that Ben, the broker, doesn't get bothered, doesn't get involved. He's able to actually scale his business. Faisal, their operations manager, who was managing maintenance, now only has to lean in when there's a major issue, or there's a communication problem between vendors and residents, and they need somebody to step in and basically figure that out, and we escalate to them. We had very specific escalation protocols for that to happen, just so Faisal can deal with those sensitive situations. And then the other parts of this are when they have owners that are not following protocol for what they would like to have happen and what they're supposed to be following. So now they have those set into the maintenance notes in Buildium, and we created extra policies, because we can't read everything, to cover that material so that it's assigned to the right location. So if something comes up, they get a notification and they're able to watch it without having to lean in and give direction. So they get to be as removed as possible and not be headfirst into the workflow. And that's, in my opinion, what winning looks like.
There you go. That little story by Nick shows you something we all know, and it's that nobody at the top of the mountain arrived there. Right? Like, nobody at the top of the mountain just landed on the top of the mountain. They climbed the top of the mountain. And the beauty about AI is that, this is a really attractive mountain to climb. When you get to the top of this, you get to this point of unlocking things in business that have never been possible. Your ability to satisfy clients and be there for them and see around corners and do all this type of stuff has never been possible like it's possible today with AI. Like, unbelievable levels of like mass customization, response times, value that you can add. But there's another side to it. The other side to it is that the world is moving this way, right? So like, whether or not you find the top of this mountain attractive, it is a mountain that you are going to have to climb eventually. So why not do it now? The reason that has been stopping a lot of folks is this fear of, I heard that I try AI, but it's not that good, or like it's an over-promise, under-deliver kind of scenario. Those are the people that have the flip switch mindset. The folks that are winning with AI and don't shut up about it, it's not because they just happen to have gotten lucky. It's folks that have taken this approach. They have approached agentic AI as workforce, as their new superstar hire, and they've invested in that superstar hire the way that you would want to have been invested in when you joined a company. First, you train it, then you coach it, and then you mentor it, and then you let it go so that you can go do other things. Now that you know, there is no more excuse. This is the way to move forward. Anybody selling you different is selling you magic pills. It's just a matter of time until these other companies understand that the onboarding and the experience needs to look this way. Since we were at the tip of the spear, I'll tell you, man, we fumbled a whole bunch of onboarding experiences. Now, as of 2 months ago, it's obvious that we got it nailed down. It is a 2-week process of understanding it, 2-week process of like training every single work order, 30-day process of us coaching you into getting it better, and then 30-day process of adding other ancillary pieces around it, and you are flying. You're at that 85-95% club. If you have been waiting to be able to trust an AI, this is the moment. This is the moment where it's clear. This is the moment where the change is incremental. We understand it. And I promise you that nobody else in the industry understands this problem like we do, because we started AI first, and they're going to have to iterate through this. It is time to jump on board and join the 5% Club.